thank you all very much for coming and joining me today. This is an issue I feel very passionately about because I consider myself a patient advocate. I'm someone with more experience navigating these spaces than I would like. And so I am very grateful to have a chance to report to you all from that perspective today. I am a content creator. And so I have been around since the very beginning of the internet, and I have done every platform there is. I was thinking that I should list those as my credentials, you know, Diaryland, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, MySpace, all the things I've done through the years. Because the thing about being a content creator is that you need to go to where your audience is. Right now, that is TikTok. And that is basically my message for all of you today. You should be on TikTok because that is where your audience is. My current content creation is around my philosophy called body loyalty. I'll be sharing some examples from my TikTok account. I just want to emphasize, I do not talk about psychosis on my account. So try to keep that in mind. What they're not talking about what we're talking about today. So there might be some things that might not apply and would be inappropriate to apply. So I just wanted to make sure we're clear about that. You can find me all over on all the platforms under @bodyloyalty. Okay, so these are the benefits of using social media in your outreach efforts. First, and in my opinion, most powerfully, is for education. For better and for worse, TikTok is where young people are going for their information. They trust TikTok because they can actually witness and interact with the source of the information, which they can't do with just regular text or even YouTube. They can't interact as in real time as TikTok offers. This is available in more information in some of the handouts that are in the box, but New York Times just did a big article about this, about how Gen Z in particular is relating to TikTok and how they trust it. They are now using TikTok to conduct internet searches more often than they are using Google to conduct searches. Not only because they trust that witness of the source, but also because TikTok is such a powerful algorithm that it can feed people very specific answers and only 60 seconds at a time. So it's extremely accessible information as opposed to some of these other options. I think another real benefit we should touch on for education and social media is that the information is ever present when they need it on their phone. So if it is in the middle of the night, if they are in a crisis moment, if they have barriers preventing them from reaching out, all of that information is still accessible to them when they need it, right there in the palm of their hand. Marketing is obviously another great benefit to the outreach, to share what your program offerings are, to encourage people to get involved, and some community participation, to introduce your team and your program offerings to your community, destigmatize some of the services that you provide, and just really show your community that you and the clients that you serve are a part of everything you're doing together. So why TikTok when there are so many competing social platforms? Well, as I mentioned, TikTok is where your target population is. 21% of everyone in the entire world who has access to the internet is on TikTok. 63% of the people on TikTok are under 30. And so of those Gen Z people, 41.4 are using TikTok when only 37.3 are using Instagram. And that gap is growing by the day. Not only are there a ton of people and a ton of young people on this app, but 9 out of 10 TikTok users use the app every day. That is an outrageous level of engagement. Other social media platforms are notorious for, like, you set up an account, you use it for a week, you get bored and you disappear. That doesn't happen on TikTok because of that powerful algorithm that feeds you exactly what you want. It can be kind of a problem of how easy it is to spend time on this app. Cultural competency is another reason I would ask you to use TikTok. As a patient advocate, this is something that I feel extremely passionate about, because let's start with the first one, a source of shared metaphor and language. TikTok is a real weird place, and there's a lot of inside jokes and metaphor that is used together based on these trends. And so if you are fluent in some of these metaphors, it will really affect the service you are able to provide to your clients. From my perspective as a patient, it is so confusing and difficult to try to relate my experience that I don't understand and I don't have language for to my service provider. If I have a service provider who can meet me in the language of metaphor, that is so powerful. So let me give you an example of what I mean. If I were to say to you as your client, you know, I thought he was going to be the golden retriever to my gamer girl, but it looks like he's more of a couch guy. I think this was a real pink sauce situation. Maybe that sounded like gibberish to you, but what I actually just communicated to you is that I had a relationship I felt really positively about. And I thought maybe it was going to be the one that resulted in a long-term commitment that was mutually beneficial for the both of us. But it turned out he was leading me on, and I'm more into him than he is to me. It's one of those situations where you just don't get what you think you're going to get. So metaphor, very powerful. Another thing I really wanted to emphasize, because we are talking about psychosis today, is some of the dangers that TikTok can present to vulnerable people. And I think that staying informed on some of those sources of influence would really benefit you and the services you are able to provide. For example, TikTok has very specific subgenres, and they refer to that by something talk, like you replace the tick part with whatever the name of the subgenre is. So there could be bread talk for people who love to learn about baking. There could be board game talk. There's laundry talk. You name it, any genre you can imagine, there will be a subgenre available on TikTok. And because of this powerful algorithm, it is self-reinforcing. What you search for, you will get fed more of. This is why there is such an enormous problem with radicalization on some of these platforms that use this algorithmic feeding. So if you are someone who is suffering from delusions, you will find other people on this app who believe in these same delusions that you do. So it can really be destructive in some ways too, that I think would really behoove you to, be aware of, keep an eye on as you're providing these services. This is from a research paper that was published in the Journal of Education and Health Promotion. The use of social media to conduct mental health campaigns is an effective initiative, as one can reach out to several people over a short time period. There is an increasing trend in the awareness of mental health with the effective use of digital media as a platform for disseminating information. So 2 points that this is really highlighting is it's scalable. The same effort you put into a room full of people can be used to reach 1 million people. And the other is that the culture of TikTok very much supports open discussion around mental health, to an occasionally problematic degree, because then there can be some misinformation. It's a real double-edged sword. You get people who are getting a lot more information to recognize some of these forces in their own life, but then you also get a lot of definition creep and some misunderstandings of some of these as well. So if you have heard anything about TikTok, you have probably heard about TikTok dances. You do not have to do them. Don't you worry. You can still participate in TikTok. But what this comes from is that TikTok specializes in short form content. Most of the content you find on TikTok is 60 seconds. TikTok started as a different app, Musical.ly app is what it was called. And on that app, it really was about sharing dances and lip syncing. Everything was based on the audio sample that you then created your content around. So TikTok is different now, but it still has those same roots of sharing dances, sharing lip syncs, and really collaborating with content. The culture encourages sharing, taking someone else's content, remixing it, turning it into something else, collaborating with somebody else, sharing it again, twisting this content into all kinds of new collaborative and entertaining ways. I should really mention, I'm going to show you some specifics here. TikTok is a weird place. Like, I really did not understand the art movement Dadaism. I did not understand it until I got on TikTok. It is made for absurdity, and it is made for silliness, and it's a weird place. So let me show you what I mean. I've created a case study here for you. This is a very popular trend, and let me tell you, I'm going to put such an earworm in your head. That might be the only thing you remember from here. So let's start with this video, just an adorable, this is an account that regularly just shares cute kids doing cute things.
For me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
Ever since I was told that corn was real, it tasted good.
Did you think corn wasn't real?
But when I tried it with butter, everything changed. I love corn. Corn.
Do you think everyone should be eating corn?
No, not everyone has to like it to be the best.
Yeah.
Everyone just has to try it. Have a bite.
What else are your favorite things?
I play a variety of games. Hide and seek, tag, never lava monster. Yeah, mostly corn. Then look at this then. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's corn. Look at this.
It's corn!
Because corn is awesome.
Can you describe corn to someone who's never tasted it before?
A big lump with knobs. It has the juice. It's the part that mostly makes me like the corn.
How much do you think corn should cost?
$1. I hope you will have a corntastic day.
A corntastic day?
What? It's just a fun about corn. If anyone loves corn, if you come to me, I can tell you all about it.
Do you like corn?
No.
Have you ever had corn before?
No.
Now TikTok gets its hands on it and starts remixing, and this is where it goes next.
For me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's corn. A big corn with knobs. It has the juice. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's corn. I can tell you all about it. Look at this thing. Gonna try it with that amazing thing.
This song has been in my head for like a month now. Such an earworm. So then people take that song and they start applying it to their content. It has to start with the TikTok dance. This is a goofy one that is kind of making fun of the concept of TikTok dances.
For me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's corn. A big corn with knobs. It has the juice. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing.
This one is an animator that then uses that audio to share their animation skills.
For me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's corn. A big corn with knobs. It has the juice. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's corn. I can tell you all about it. Look at this thing. Gonna try it with that amazing thing.
And this last one I wanted to share because I think this will probably be more relevant to how you might be using these trends. This is a bungee gym that wanted to take this audio about somebody loving something so much and use it to share something that they love so much. For this business, it's obviously attending their bungee gym.
For me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's corn. A big corn with knobs. It has the juice. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's corn. I can tell you all about it. Look at this thing. Gonna try it with that amazing thing.
And I really had to be very ruthless about my editing for these videos. I could have kept you watching these videos for a month, but then, as always, once the brands get involved, it loses a little of its cool factor. So this is kind of how that trend resolved.
You want a bowl?
Yes, please.
Brown or white rice?
No.
Black or pinto beans?
No, thank you.
Any meat?
No.
Mild?
No.
Sour cream?
No.
Any corn?
It's corn.
Oh, I have watched these videos so many times. That little boy is like dopamine on supply. Okay, so when you create your account and you go into TikTok, this is the screen that you will see. This is your home page. And what's really unique about TikTok is that it gives you two different feeds. There's the following feed, and that is the feed for the people that you choose to follow. And then there's the For You feed, which is the feed the TikTok algorithm selects for you based on your engagement and the massive troves of data that they have on you. So let me take you through this screen a little bit more. This is a link to the profile of this creator. So if I wanted to follow this creator so that I could see all the rest of their content, I would hit that red arrow. If I want to tell TikTok that I want to see more of this, or I want to encourage the creator, then I would offer some kind of engagement, like offering a like by pressing the heart. Maybe I want to participate in some discussion or tell the creator how much I liked their work. I can leave a comment right here. If there's something about this video that would apply to someone else and I want to share it with them, that's all behind this arrow here. This icon will take you to this source of audio. And so if there's an audio piece on this clip that you really like and really want to use yourself, you push this music button and that will take you to that piece that you can save or make something with. So this area here is the caption area. This is the name of this particular creator. And this is the caption that they selected to go with it, and then a whole bunch of hashtags. Just like every other social network, hashtags are used here on TikTok to kind of flag the videos by topics, that if somebody is looking for a video about a billionaire, then they can search billionaire, and this hashtag will be included. Along the bottom here, we have a row of icons. In the footer, this home one will take you right back to this page from wherever you are in the app. The Discover is where you go to search. This plus icon is where you go to make your own videos. Inbox is for DMs and notifications. And Profile is where your profile page is. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just now seeing the chat. Oh, good, I love that you're all in there with me with that song. We're all hooked on it now. Okay, so that is our main page with our feeds. Most people typically don't stray far from the For You feed. But as I have said before, and I will say many more times before we're done, the TikTok algorithm is eerie. It really can't be overemphasized how eerie this TikTok algorithm is for giving you content that will keep you on the app because it's what you want to see. So the For You feed is where most people just tend to camp out. Okay, let's do the profile page now. So this is what you'll see if you'll click here, you'll see his version of it. If you click here, you will see your version of it. This is the profile page. This is mine. So this is your behind the scenes space. It is visible to everybody else other than the drafts piece. But this is where you really share your point, the context that you are coming from, your social location, anything that your viewers would need to know to kind of understand where you're coming from. Try to prevent some of that context collapse that occurs on the internet. So there is this draft section here where you will keep the videos that you are still in progress on. This part is not visible to anybody else. And then you have these pinned videos. Your account will let you have 3 pinned videos at the top. So you can pick the ones that you think will give your viewers the best picture of what you're sharing. What I have pinned is an introduction to the concept of body loyalty, a link to a flyer I made about it, and then some boundary setting about how I'm going to tolerate people discussing about body size on my account. So this really helps because it's one big pool to share where your authority is coming from, where your experience is coming from, and why they should trust what you are sharing as opposed to the ocean of information from everyone else. This is also where your audience will find your entire library. So it really helps, even though it's kind of your personal page, to curate it with that in mind, that this is where they will view the body of your work. Okay, so now let's get started making a TikTok. When you press that plus icon in the footer, it will take you to this page, the recording page. So the shorter your video is, the more engagement it will get. 60 seconds, like I said, is the norm. 15 seconds is another one that they prompt you at, because the more you can shorten your video, the more likely that it will take repeat viewings. And so it auto loops as it plays. And so the shorter your video is, the more that your analytics, and we'll get more into this in a second, but the algorithm will know people like this. They're watching all the way through. I should show this to more people. And so if you have a 7-second video, you're going to get a lot more people who watch to the end than if you do a 3-minute video. And so the algorithm, who wants to keep us all trapped on the app, will say, people are watching this video, let's show it to more. And they're watching it more than once, so that they can get all this information out of it. Let's show it to more. So there's these strategies to try to market your content on TikTok. And the length of your video is a big one to consider. It's kind of a balance to find, because your longer videos obviously offer that time to add the context, add nuance, to give deeper and more thorough information, but the shorter videos will keep eyeballs. So there's some strategy there about front loading your video with the most eye-grabbing content or the most important content, so that in those few seconds before somebody scrolls, they can at least get what you want them to get out of it. Let me take you around this screen a little bit more. I really tried to choose what I was going to go into, because it can be very overwhelming. You can make an entire movie in the TikTok app. The features that it offers, I mean, I've had to use so many different professional level apps to get what TikTok can now do just on your phone. It's really astonishing. So I'm not going to dwell too much on this, because we could be here for a very long time. But if you want to flip from the front-facing camera to the back-facing camera, that's this button. If you want to change the recording speed, if you want to retouch and use some beauty filters, these filters are about the quality of the light. Like maybe you want to add a little blue tint, a little red tint. It's like lighting gels. Timer, that's an auto, the word just fell out of my head. When you want to start it all by itself, you can set it to go off with you at the other side of the room. Clips, you can add some multimedia clips, and Q&A is a way of interacting with your audience. This is the effects button. There's a few different things that the app will call effects. This effects button is for effects that you want to use as you are filming it, as opposed to after effects that you add afterwards. So these are the filters that you want to add before you film. So let me show you a little bit more. Oh, and of course, before I forget, upload, if you want to add video or media from an outside source and edit it in the app, you can do that too. Okay, so filters is within this effects button. As I said, it calls a few different things filters, and it calls a few different things effects. So this is what I'm talking about, and let me show you this video.
Show you around the effects options within TikTok. I'm going to start by pressing the effects button, which is down there in the left corner. Up pops a menu, and across the top you've got all these words that are tabs categorizing the endless number of filter options there are for you. You could get lost in here for days, but the ones that are important for you to know about are the trending and the green screen. So that with the trending filters, it's another way for you to participate in the current discussion and for your content to interact with other people's content. With the green screens, there we go. With the green screen, you can share additional media. I've got a picture shared behind me, but there's loads more where you can share videos, and you can share them in ways you haven't even dreamed of yet. A very common thing on TikTok is to use facial altering filters. Sometimes that's just a cute, fun little makeup addition or some cute eyelashes. Other times it can be reshaping the entire structure of your face. So some of these can get kind of alarming. So that to know how to get rid of these filters, it's that little no symbol up there in the left corner.
You know, young people who use a lot of those experience a tremendous amount of dysphoria over it. It can be extremely risky to vulnerable people. So just another risk I really wanted to point out for you as you are dealing with your clients on this. Okay, so now after we have selected whatever effects we want to add and we're ready to start recording, you just hit that great big red button. One really nice feature is that you can make cuts without making separate files that you then have to join together. You can stop and start just by pressing that red button a couple of times, and it picks up right where it left off. There's this red line right here, and that counts down around for you based on the length of time you picked. So if you picked a 15-second clip, it will record, the line will go around for 15 seconds, and then it will automatically stop recording for you. Sometimes that's a beautiful thing. Sometimes it is extremely frustrating. When you are all satisfied with your take and you're ready to move on, that's where this red check button comes in. If you don't like a take and you want to go back, that's this white X delete button. And the nice thing, and sometimes the frustrating thing, is that it only goes one section at a time. So if you love, let's say you take 3 sections, take 1 is great, take 2 is great, you mess up take 3, no problem. Hit that button, just erases take 3, and you can start all over again. If you decide that you hate take 1, you got to start all over. You can't save the last 2 and start over. It's just does the most recent one. Hopefully that makes some sense. Okay. So we press the red check button and we get to this screen. So from here, you can start editing your video. You can publish it as is, and you can publish it directly to your story, which is a temporary thing like Instagram stories, or you can press the next button and it will take you to the next step to publish it in your feed. But let's spend some time here because the editing features that TikTok offers are really exceptional. So let me take you on a little tour around and then we'll go in depth into a couple that will really apply to you. This right here is where you add the background sound to your video. You've got options to include text on screen, stickers, effects. Now these are the after effects. So it's like adding, making it snow on top of you, or I saw one this morning that made it look like you were underwater, that you apply after you filmed it. Filters, these are like the gel lights, just like in the last screen where you can change the color tone of the appearance. Adjust clips will help you edit what you've just filmed, especially if you have stopped and restarted and made some cuts. Captions, this is something I feel very strongly about. Please, please, please always use captions. They make it so easy for you, and it will help your SEO as the algorithm sees more of the keywords that people might want to search for. By pressing that button, it will automatically transcribe it for you. You just kind of need to give it a peruse that it didn't garble anything, and it's done. It could not be easier. There's the noise reducer, and then if you press this down arrow, there are additional options, but they are all related to sound editing. So you can take the clip, you can chop it up, remix. It's just really amazing what you can get into. Okay, so here's a view of what some of those screens look like. This is the add text section. These are all for appearance. You can choose fonts, colors, outlines, all kinds of, you can have it screen read for you, all kinds of different options. And if you're trying to make your video very short to get that benefit of the repeat watches, adding text is a fantastic way to do it. It kind of can help bridge that gap between the short time and trying to catch eyeballs and trying to share more thorough and deeper information. You can use the text to get a little bit deeper, but keep your video short and they'll repeat watch it. So adjust clips. This is if you need to kind of tighten up those clips that you've made by starting and stopping, tighten up the beginning and the end, just really trying to give people not a second to scroll away from your video. And then there are a million sticker options as well for all kinds of more creativity. This is the sounds page, and this is really powerful to kind of get your video in that current of the discussion. If there is an audio that is going viral and you use it behind your video, anytime somebody is looking for that audio, they'll find yours. And the algorithm, who knows that people are responding to this audio very well, will push content that uses that audio. So it is a way of getting that algorithm on your side. Now, if you want to choose something like, say, this gaslight audio, would not have anything to do with, it's like dance music. It would not have anything to do with the kind of content that I necessarily create, but I can still benefit from that current of popularity by putting it behind my video and then just turning the sound all the way down. So nobody hears it, but it still is getting me in that river. I'm using that metaphor now, I guess. Then when you are all done with your editing, let me show you that page again. Then you'll press that next button that's down here on this screen. And that will take you to this page, the post page. Here you can add your caption to explain a little bit more, add your hashtags to get in those currents of the algorithm. You can add a location tag. If your services are specifically local, then adding a location tag will help your local people find it in the whole ocean of the global internet. You can choose who you want to see this video, and you can choose the level of engagement you want to have with it. Sometimes if content can be very controversial or prone to trolling, then people can make selections there to kind of limit how their content can be used and remixed outside of their hands. You can save it to drafts. Oh, this here is, if you use background audio, then you need to agree to the terms and conditions. And then you can put it in drafts, or you can post and begin engaging with your viewers. You can also connect this to additional social media accounts. So I have my Instagram connected to my TikTok, so that when I post a TikTok, it automatically posts to Instagram. Just makes my life a lot easier. Okay, so we have published our TikTok. Now, how do we get people to watch it? So as I mentioned, there's the For You page where the algorithm will decide who's most likely to engage with your content, and they will feed your video towards them in their For You page. You also have the following page, which is if people have decided to follow your account, then your video will be fed to them on the following page. It is the internet, so you can always pay for a promotion. TikTok chooses who it shows it to you based on the level of engagement. So you might have 1 million followers, but a video will only be shown to 150,000 of those followers, because the way the math works out, about 15% of people who watch your video engage with it. And so they will choose based on that engagement percentage who they're going to continue to show it to. But if you pay for it, then the video can go out to more of your 1 million followers that aren't automatically going to get to see it. Hashtags, as we've mentioned, like all other social medias, just make it so that your content can be flagged based on people searching for it. And then there's these other options that are pretty unique to TikTok: duets, trends, and stitching. So here is a duet. This is where you take someone else's content and you put yourself side by side it for the entire length of the video. The purpose of doing this is to amplify their message to your audience. You could remix it to respond to it in a funny way or share some kind of a message. And also, by stitching with her account, the algorithm will make it more likely to show my content to her audience. So in this video, she'll be doing all the speaking, but through my body language, I'm showing what parts of the message I really want to emphasize that I agree with.
This comment, I love when a counselor or a therapist or a psych will look at someone and go, you have so much inbuilt guilt and shame. and I'm not going to be able to get rid of it. So let's just start making it work for us. Like if you've never been good at self-care, to start to take care of yourself feels like you're being selfish. These backhanded bits of advice really work for me, and I've picked up a heap of them over the years, so here they are in no particular order. You do not need to worry about what other people think of you because that's their business, not yours, and you're being invasive if you obsess over it. Your experience and your struggles with your own mental health isn't special. Millions of people feel the way you feel right now. You are not unique. And the flip side of that is that you're not alone. Establishing boundaries with people and saying no might feel selfish, but if you don't say no, you are putting people in a position to hurt you without knowing they're doing it. And that's cruel. Stop feeling guilty and blaming yourself for everything bad that ever happens. You are not a superhuman. You don't have that kind of power.
So that's duets, and now here's stitches, where again, I'm taking somebody's content and I'm adding to it. So it's just a portion of his content, and then I'm adding my response at the end. Now, these are really powerful to respond to a prompt, which is what I'm doing in his video, or to join a conversation, or incredibly importantly for all of you, to correct misinformation.
If you have executive dysfunction, stitch this and tell me one piece of advice that actually works for you.
There are so many little tips and tricks that can benefit you. So I would really recommend just going online and finding community, finding the people who are human in the same kind of way that you are, and start swapping notes and benefit from community wisdom. The other thing I'd suggest is just stop trying to be normal. We are just pathologized for our differences, but that doesn't mean they're actually bad. It's just that this world was built for one specific kind of human. So all you have to do is recognize that you're a different kind of human. And then the shame and pathologizing they're trying to feed us doesn't apply, because that's for a different kind of human than we are. And we can do things our own way. We can figure things out based on if they're actually helping us or if it's just tradition. Like what is the virtue to why we're doing things a certain way? And often it's just because that's the way it's been done. No, you're a different kind of human. You're not normal. Do it your way.
And so then there are trends. So again, using that audio and building the content around, your video will show when people are engaging with that audio. So if you're following a dance trend or following some other kind of a meme that is going around, your video will be included in that and participating in that. So in this one, I'm using a very popular audio, and the trend was a lot of people were using this audio to kind of share personal qualities that made them who they are. So in trying to share my philosophy of body loyalty, I use this audio to kind of share what makes body loyalty who it is. Now, that audio had a very powerful message about self-love and positivity. And so since my message is also about self-love, using that audio also really targets this video to that specific segment of TikTok. So here's some other trends that I wanted to show you, where if you take your content that you are sharing, the topic that you discuss, and apply it to this trend, not only will TikTok promote it more, but you will be demonstrating through example why your content is relevant to your viewer. So this first one, the audio that was trending was audio of somebody typing furiously. And the trend was to add a whole bunch of text on the screen explaining what you would feel that strongly about that would make you type that way. And this is an example of what I was talking about, of a very short audio with text on the screen that makes that looping function increase your engagement level. On Canva, it won't loop, but you'll need more time than this will play in order to read this section of text. And then in this next one, it's an audio that people were lip syncing to make a point about their content. So I'm lip syncing to it to make a point about mine.
When I say this and you respond with this, it lets me know that you think this. All right, good talk.
Another unique feature to TikTok is video replies. As people engage with your content and leave comments, you can comment back, or you can make a new video directed directly to that comment, replying to it. So again, this gives you the chance to go more in depth, and it gives you a chance to create some community as you are engaging directly back and forth with your audience. I'm not going to share these so that we have time for questions. And I, again, really thank you for your interest. You know, I've spent a lot of time trying to get people to take this seriously, so I appreciate you. I've witnessed the power that this kind of outreach has, and I've witnessed how much misinformation and threats there are out there. So it's very important work. I wish you all good luck.
First of all, I'm really super interested in this topic. I find this fascinating. I think it's a discussion that warrants a lot of attention. But in knowing that, I was lucky and fortunate enough to join a collaborative for mental health last Friday, where I learned about this really fascinating campaign that was done 10 years ago. And I find that I think it's a message that absolutely is timeless and needs to be on TikTok. It would thrive. However, I was just curious about your thoughts on kind of co-opting that, because I am not the owner of that campaign at all. But the information is specifically to this, I think it was called mantherapy.org. But they had like commercials very specific to like I hadn't thought of it before, this subsection of therapy. So I found it fascinating, and I would like to post that. But also, I recognize that it's not my campaign.
That's great. That's a wonderful question. I think the skills you have gathered in public health or academia will also apply here. So partner with an organization or cite them. That is absolutely fair game, is to cite their work in exactly the same way in the other aspects of your work. And you're doing them a favor, because by citing them, you are leading them right back to man therapy or wherever it came from, and increasing that reach of their content as well. So the whole question of intellectual property becomes really squishy online in general, and TikTok in particular. But adhering to those kind of best practices of giving the credit will get you through a whole lot. And particularly on TikTok, things that would not fly on other social media platforms do apply on TikTok. Like, people will straight up take another comedian's routine and word for word do the comedian's routine. In any other environment, the comedian would be, "You're a hack, how dare you?" But on TikTok, people just kind of accept, well, that's the culture. Now, I'm not saying you should steal anybody's work. I'm saying you should cite it, of course, but it doesn't have the negative connotations that it might in a different space.
I guess one question that I would have is, I'm not on TikTok very often, but I am on Instagram, and I see a lot of misinformation about mental health. It's really common, at least in my feed, what I get shown, to see clips about ADHD, and some of them are great and they're accurate, and some of them are really, really not accurate. I'm just wondering how to approach that when you see it happening online.
Thank you so much for this question. ADHD is the big one. That is the big one, because TikTok kind of produces some, not diagnostic levels, but there's some crossover there just from using TikTok regularly. So I think that what you choose to do about it kind of depends on how big a fight you feel in the mood for. You know, you can respond directly to that misinformation through a stitch or a duet, and just straight up refute it. And that is incredibly valuable. Depending on who that creator is, they might send their fans to you. There might be a whole thing with videos flying back, and that's fair game. That's part of how it all works. That is part of how the discourse on social media happens. But, it's definitely something to factor in when you're thinking about spoons and labor and all of that. You can share it in some ways that don't get the other person involved at all, just by acknowledging the misinformation that is out there and correcting it explicitly. But if you attach it to the misinformation, it really will go further. It is a bit of a risk to mitigate as well, especially with public agencies and professional reputations to mitigate. But there are people out there who do it straight from, professional accounts. So it really depends on your context, your resources. But ADHD is a really tricky one. Autism is another, because there are so many overlaps. I kind of just refer to myself as neurodivergent now and just give up anything more specific, because there is so much overlap. The diagnostic understandings are evolving quickly. It's just very difficult to get accurate information on this issue, as you have kind of these dual forces of rapid new information and a whole lot of misinformation at the same time. So your work in refuting misinformation on TikTok is unbelievably valuable, because people really do need this information. The whole reason it's so popular is because people do not have access to appropriate diagnosticians and support. So people really do respond to this content because they need it, but we don't have any way of filtering this information of what is accurate in the DSM and what is somebody kind of scooching those definitions along. So that is where the work that you do here is just incredibly, incredibly valuable. Oh, I see this in the chat, an increase in adolescents reporting DID. Yes, now that is, dissociative symptoms in particular are really challenging, because it can be a trend. It really can. And also, TikTok use, particularly in the isolated environments we have been in, can create the conditions for some dissociative symptoms. So it's all of this is kind of a both and situation, which is why having people who have the accurate information, the experience, and the credentials on this platform to be able to spread that information to people who are desperately seeking it is so important.
I'm somebody who has been on the internet for a while as well. How would you say you got over kind of like, maybe if you even had any, the initial anxiety? Because I find that add button is the most stressful thing on that TikTok app.
Yeah, that's a real thing. I go through periods where I have to really monitor, what am I up for today? Am I ready to face whatever reactions might come my way? Maybe today's not the day I address that controversial topic, and instead I address something just more open about self-care. It's really kind of monitoring the mood I'm in on that day and respecting what I'm capable of, the rhythms of my body, what my nervous system is doing, and kind of honoring that, because it really is a level of exposure that can be challenging. I've also found that a lot of the skills I developed in OCD therapies come in real handy. Exposure therapy gets you through a lot of the anxiety of posting. And the fears that I had when I first started posting of like, well, what if somebody comes with this reaction? Well, that one didn't happen. Instead, somebody came up with something I never thought of before that I have to address. So enough experience on the app and realizing my fears are not going to happen the way I fear them. Something else is going to happen entirely. So I just need to do what I'm capable of doing and prepare for the response and get used to it that way. Thank you so much for that.
Wow, I never saw TikTok or any social media as educational, seriously, until I'm still like, whoa, there's a lot of things that you can do with this.
It's mind-blowing. It is.
Yes, it is. All I have is Facebook, and I hardly ever use it. So this is like, I'm amazed. But the question is, I have clients who are in the prodromal phase, meaning they're still doubting, is this psychosis? What is it that I see when nobody else is seeing it? Is there someone out there that something in TikTok or any social media that I can recommend to my clients and to the parents of clients, that this is what it looks like for us to understand them better? You know what I mean?
I do. I cannot think of anyone who is a professional with the accurate information. There are some people making that kind of content with lived experience, and I would not recommend it to families because it's real hit and miss. You know, there are different virtues for that kind of lived experience content. There's a lot of destigmatizing. There's a lot of just decatastrophizing of it. But if you are in a place where you are doubting, then some of that kind of content can be really scary. And so I'd say, maybe telling them that there is some information out there and kind of letting them govern that a bit, staying in touch with what they're consuming might be the best way forward for that until one of you creates an account and then we can all send that account to people.
I think it's a great idea for somebody who be able to see themselves in someone else and put it together like, that's what I have. You know.
Incredibly valuable. Like as a representative of the disability community, it is life-changing. It is absolutely life-changing to realize that, oh, I'm not uniquely broken and a failure. This is just a common way that people come, and we can find support that we need to mitigate some of these distressing ways that people come. What do you know? Like it is so the power to destigmatize by people just sharing their lived experience and being able to share community wisdom as well, to be able to say, I need more support with executive function. So this hack and this hack and this hack are helping me, especially for things that kind of go beyond your scope of services and are just more about like the day-to-day living. Those kind of lived experiences can be incredibly powerful. But I definitely would, for psychosis, I definitely would suggest waiting until they feel a little bit comfortable with that diagnosis themselves.
I guess I'm just curious about the content out there for our kiddos and how to help them navigate it. If there's any like safety filters that we can put in place like they have for other sites.
There definitely are. There's safety filters. There's specific word filters you can take out. I think really focusing on media literacy is a powerful way because you're just not going to be able to filter all the bad stuff out. But you can teach people how to spot the bad stuff when they see it and how to critically evaluate it that way.